everyone. Welcome to episode 79 of the Consultant Podcast. Today we were speaking with artist Jason Davies from the UK. The UK, just like Lindsey, two lovers from the other side. Welcome to the show, Jason. It's really great to have you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for bringing me into the 21st century. This is my first Zoom meeting. Thank you for helping me into this. I've been sketch cards for 15 years, and this is the first time I've done any interviews or anything like this at all. So thank you for asking me. And hopefully I'll be interested enough to talk for an hour or so with you.
I'm sure you will. We are so honoured. I was having a look at your work and photorealism, and it just looks amazing. Really good. But we're going to start where we usually start, which is at the beginning. I'd like to know what got you interested in art when you were a kid, your favourite fandoms, if you had any, and that sort of thing.
Well, it were always, I think comics. I think my dad got me some Marvel comics when I was really little, and I really loved the comics. I just appeared into that world of reading comic books, and then 2000 AD comic came out in the UK, and Judge Dredd and all the characters there. I used to collect that every week. And of course, Star Wars came out roughly about the same time as 2000 AD. So that really got me interested in sci-fi and got me really boosted my interest in drawing. And as soon as I realised people actually got jobs drawing comic books, that's just always been my passion all the way through school. But when it came to leaving school, being from South Yorkshire in the 80s, there wasn't really any option of going off to, for me anyway, there was no option really going off to art college or anything. I joined the army, so I went off. I was in Germany until 1990 in the army, and I left the army in 1990 to go to art college because it came to a bit of a decision on what I'm going to do with my life. And I went to go to art college in Rotherham, and I was only there a couple of months. And just financially and things at home, I went off and I went down to work down the pit of a coal miner, then for 8 years. But all the time, I'd always been drawing in my spare time. I'd always been drawing bits and bobs and painting. I've always kept it as an hobby. But for a long time, I met my wife. We had kids and stuff, and I'd be drawing and stuff. But I'd always be picking pieces of work up, drawing them and putting them down and never finishing anything. So I had lots of work that were unfinished, lots of sketchbooks I had little pieces in, and nothing ever finished. And I've always had a big, as you can tell, a big love of Indiana Jones, and that's as well as Star Wars. That's one of my real big passions, been Indiana Jones. And when the internet came along and you start seeing fan websites for things, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, I saw some fan fiction and fan art. And there's an author called Greg Hildebrandt Jr., who's a son of like legendary poster artist Greg Hildebrandt Sr. and his uncle Tim Hildebrandt. They drew one of the original Star Wars posters. One of the famous poster with Luke holding the saber up and Leia at the side of him. He'd done a fan like Indiana Jones 4 script as it was then, and I began to serialize that on one. I contacted him and I began to serialize this comic strip on one of the indie fan sites at that time. But that's something that kept me drawing. It kept me drawing one thing. I weren't putting it down. I was continually drawing, and it worked brilliant art. You can still find it now on the Raider.net. Some of it's really bad. Some of it I even drew. I was a taxi driver for a while, and sometimes I'd be drawing it on my lap in my taxi. But it was something I kept going. I kept doing. I kept drawing. It wasn't, so it kept me drawing until I saw sketch cards on the internet, Indiana Jones sketch cards, and I contacted one of the artists that I'd seen, Don Pedicini Jr. had done some sketch cards. And I contacted him and asked him, how did you get into this? And he messaged me and just said he'd sent some original drew some original samples, original proper size, 2.5 inch by 3.5 inch samples of work to the art director at Tops at the time. So I did that. I drew a bundle of different pieces, some Star Wars, Indiana Jones. And because I knew we were doing this, I dug through a few drawers. And this is one of my original
Oh my God.
cards.
Oh.
This is one of the original cards I sent to Tops. And a few years later, Dave Waldeck, who was the art director at the time, he sent them me back, said, I found these in a drawer, Jason, because I sent a self-addressed envelope, so he posted them back to me. So this is one I've been able to find.
Isn't that cool?
I just did a couple of different styles, some grayscale, some pencil, some full colour. And I sent that off to them. And probably about 6 weeks, 2 months later, I got an invite back for a sports set of sketch cards in 2008. The updates and highlights baseball set, and that's one card. That's one of my APs. I kept it as a just a memento for doing the first set.
That's
I don't know why I kept this particular card, but that was the first set I did. And after that, I did a couple more, some more sports work, some basketball cards, and then I think it was 2008. I got the invite for the Indiana Jones masterpieces set, which was I was just blown away to be able to contribute something official to the Indiana Jones world. And yeah, I was just looking on my old memory sticks. It must be the most cards I ever drew on one set, because it must be 200 cards or something I did, or something approaching that number. And I don't know anything more than 30 cards an hour if I can help it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that were back in the day when you had to do like hundreds and hundreds of cards.
I think the offer was you could draw. I don't know what the minimum number was. I can't remember. But
At
I think
that
I
time,
chose to do it.
it was about 200 at that time.
Really?
Which was an improvement, because when I started, you had to, well, on my contracts, it was like 300, you had to take 300, and then we were very often asked to do more. I mean, it was, well, I would never do it again.
No, it's unbelievable. I struggle now with 30 cards, and 30 full colour cards. I really struggle.
It seems like the need to draw is it inbuilt with you, like certainly for me, like even when I was working in a day job, I always drew every day. I just had to. There was no choice about it. And like you say, with you drawing in your taxi, and
well, I've like for the past, I did the taxiing for a while, and then I got a job working on Blackpool Tower, doing the painting and blasting and steel repairs on Blackpool Tower, and I did that for 5 years. And then we worked offshore, on the wind turbines, doing maintenance work on the wind turbines in the Irish Sea off Barra.
Wow.
So I've been working away a lot. So all that time, I've been working away for 10 days, back for 4 days. So on my 4 days home, as well as doing the family things, I would get in my drawing in and try and get all my drawing sketch cards done. Because I found I could never take my work, the sketch cards away with me and do them at night time or anything. I could never do that. For some reason, just couldn't make it work. But about 4 years ago, the company I'm working for folded. So I got a job with Royal Mail. So I do that now, work for Royal Mail. But it's not so many hours. So I get time in the morning, because I work afternoons. I can work in the morning on the art, and then evenings as well if I'm really up against it to do a few more hours.
Do you find the better time of day to work that you prefer? I mean, it is the morning when you're fresh and you're ready and you're in the mood.
I'm never fresh in the morning or anytime. But yeah, I'm best, to be honest. Yeah, I'm best in the morning if I drag myself out of bed, walk the dog, and then come into the studio to do my artwork. Yeah, and just I can get.
So we kind of went through your story quite quickly. We went new all the way through it. So what was it you were drawing when you were a kid? Like, what was it that?
So Star Wars, or Battlestar Galactica, or Judge Dredd, 2000 AD characters, Robot Wars, anything that
And you
anything
enjoyed
sci-fi really.
You enjoyed the comic book style.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So what brought you to? Because right now you use paint. I think I heard you mention. What brought you to painting?
Real painting. I didn't really do any painting until probably the early 90s. Like through school, we in my art class at school, we really didn't have anything. We had at my high school, we had powder paints. It was just really, honestly, brushes you could have painted your walls with. There were nothing, and usually it was stuff you brought from home yourself to work with. I've never heard of acrylic paints or watercolors. It was just these powder paints that we had at school. So it was really the early 90s. I think a magazine came out, The Art of Drawing and Painting, and I started buying this and looking and learnt about acrylic paints and different styles of painting, different techniques and things. So I just read that and tried a few things.
So you've been really working with your curiosity and letting it lead you where you need to go for your art.
Yeah.
I've been self-taught before the internet is dedication, isn't it?
Yeah.
Find those publications rather than just Google.
Right. Yeah, but none of that. But and then sketch cards really forced me to try different things, and I'm always trying to get that ultimate technique of speed and effects, really. Quality. The best effects you can, the best quality, the best effect, the quickest time, and I've never found it. I've still not found it. I'm still trying to get there.
Have you found though that it forced you to finish your work? Like you say, we've all been through this period where we never finished anything. Started it, put it to one side, and you just can't do that with sketch cards. You have to. Yeah. Even if you don't like what you've done, you've still got to finish it. That's right. Yeah. Make that difference. Also, we were talking to you a little bit earlier, and you mentioned that your poster was in Star Wars Celebration this year. Yeah. Congratulations. That's not an easy thing to do. Thank you. No, it wasn't. End of last year, we had a bad time. My father-in-law was living with us, and he died of cancer at Christmas, but he was living with us at the time. And I just agreed, I think, to do Masterworks before Christmas. And then I had to decline. I accepted and then declined because I just weren't in that. I couldn't get into that creative frame of mind. I just decided to put it all to one side. But I'd already started a concept to apply for Celebration from a concept poster to send to Lucasfilm. My daughter, she's gone on to do fashion design. She went to university of fashion design, and now she teaches the same course she did at sixth form, at local sixth form college. So she teaches graphics and fashion and Photoshop and stuff, which I get her to help me with. And like she came round and I'd put the concept to one side. I put it away on the art table. She said, "Dad, what's this?" And I said, "Oh, it's the Star Wars Celebration." Explained what it was. She says, "You've got to finish this now, Dad. You've got to get this, finish this now. Put everything away and finish this." So, I've been told. And it did keep me focused over that time. So I finished the concept, sent it off, and I was amazed that they came back and chose the concept. And that the idea for it, I'll grab it, I'll show you. Yeah. Love to see it.
Great story. Oh.
I see it's one of the. You see, that's one of the prints. And
wow!
I'd used this idea as a puzzle piece for some sketch cards, like Ahsoka's head and body, and then I thought I could expand that to a poster with Mando and Luke from the TV series, from Mandalorian TV series. But then I did the ships as well at either side. They accepted that, but then they decided I'd put Ahsoka, a Jedi Starfighter, for the side of her. But Lucasfilm came back and said, no, you have to remove that. So I had to go back to the poster and remove it, because obviously that's not the ship that she was going to be using in the TV show.
Right.
But I got there in the end. Yeah, it was a great experience, and met a lot of really nice people. It was a fantastic weekend, very tiring, but it was nice to meet all the other artists. And that's like another, you get your sketch card artists and how they work, and sketch collectors, and you see that there's poster art collectors as well, and it's an all different world of collecting and creating. It's really interesting.
Oh, well, that looks great.
Yeah,
I was sad I couldn't make it down. Like, I mean, only being in Doncaster, it's just a 2-hour train ride, and people did message me and said, "Are you coming down?" And I just didn't have the funds or time.
Yeah,
because all the hotels are all gone like that. If you don't get in there quick, like, everything's booked up, because people come from all over the world to go, don't they?
And as soon as you were announced in London, you saw people saying, "I've got flights booked, hotels booked." No, from all over the world saying so. Yeah, it were.
Well, so disappointing. Like, there's probably not going to be a chance that I'm going to meet those people again. Like, you know, coming from overseas and everything. So hopefully they'll do another one in the UK.
They might have another one down the road. They may have another celebration in a couple of years, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, the next one's in Japan the year after next, isn't it?
Yeah. There's no way I can get to Japan.
No.
It'd be awesome to go to Japan. I'd love it. I do like anime, but never mind.
I didn't get to see any of the show. I didn't see anybody there because I had to man my table all the time. I did have family with me, but I had to be there at the table. And I also had some cards in the celebration set as well for Tops. I did the exclusive set that they did. So I did get to go to the top stand and do some signing there as well, and meet some of the faces.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
so a bit of double whammy. I had the cards and the poster.
Oh, that's so awesome! I'm so pleased. So you're still working for Tops at the moment?
Yeah, I've just got one set. Oh, the Mandalorian season 3 set. Just got some.
I haven't seen it yet. I don't get Disney Plus, so I haven't seen it yet.
You've not seen Mandalorian yet?
I have
seen the third series.
The third series I haven't seen.
Right.
Yeah, there's so many subscriptions, it gets to be a bit much. But so
very true.
So riffing off this experience you had with Celebration, you mentioned that you saw that there were different collectors and they collect different kinds of art. So they don't collect just sketch cards, they collect posters. What else? What other kind of art did you see that went big with?
I did some of the other some of the Acme archives. Sell the other kind of other posters, Indiana Jones and Star Wars and other stuff. I did see them selling their stuff there, but I think it was interesting to see. It was another type of collecting, that people were collecting certain artists' work or certain styles of work. Well, it was a different world from sketch card collectors. I did get to meet some sketch collectors.
I'm sorry, continue.
Some of the sketch collectors that buy my work actually were there as well. George Denan from London, he came down to met George and Charlie.
We should invite George on. I like George.
Oh, he's really really nice guy. Him and Charlie, really top fellas.
Yeah,
really
we've had Charlie on. Love Charlie as well.
Charlie is amazing. Oh, yeah, that's way back in the beginning. He's very enthusiastic and happy.
Yeah. He really is. Yeah, he is.
I wanted to.
Sorry, what materials did you use to do your poster, and what do you use to do your sketch cards mostly? What's your favourite?
Similar stuff. Airbrushed acrylics, painted acrylics, airbrushed acrylics, pencil crayons.
Do you mix your pencil experience with your airbrush, or do you stick to just acrylic on acrylic? Or
No, I use pencils on the acrylics. Once I've finished the painting and airbrushing, I'll use the pencils on top for details and highlights and things.
Do you
I
find
How do
usually
you get on with-
I overwork things too much, and sometimes I'll paint something, I'll use Copics, and then end up using pencils over everything and spending 2-3 times as long on a card as I should do.
I've been drawing a face before, and I've got it looking quite pretty, and then you just overdo it, and it looks like, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Do
The
you
surface
find it
becomes
difficult
yeah.
when you're using an airbrush, especially with acrylics, do you find it a lot of work to keep your airbrush working well? It's a silly
A
question.
lot of cleaning, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of cleaning. Yeah. I just got some of these yesterday. Some of these, I've seen some high flow acrylics.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try these. They seem to be able to just go straight into your airbrush. You can paint with them straight into you can use them with your airbrush. Put them in pens if you've got the right pens.
Oh.
So we'll try
So
them.
no water mix or anything?
No, you can
just...
do, but they are fluid enough to go straight into your airbrush and use straight away. I've not tried them yet, but I've watched a few videos.
They're like water.
Sorry?
They're already very watery, I think. Eh?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So I'll look forward to
When I
trying
was
them.
trying airbrush, like the nozzle just got clogged all the time. For some reason, I couldn't, and then it would just spurt out, and I gave up in the end. And it's very noisy as well, isn't it? It's very loud. Or have you got a good one?
I've got a water compressor. It is still loud. Yes, it is a bit loud, but it's not too bad.
It's definitely a different way of working. I find it's
airbrush is your main tool. Is that your main tool?
Yeah, I think I like to think it keeps me quick, but it probably doesn't. It's what I keep going back to it. I'll do Copics, I'll do painted acrylics, but then I just keep going back to my airbrush.
Okay.
How do you manage on such a small scale, like sketch cards with an airbrush? I mean, can you get different nozzles that are smaller, or is it the way you're holding it? Or
I think it's the way you're holding it, but I think the thing that probably takes the time as well is to end up having to mask off areas. So I'll get tracing paper, trace around an area. If I want to airbrush a background but not affect the head or whatever it is I'm doing, I'll have to mask areas off and then trim the masking and put it on and mask over it.
So actually, you have a lot of preparation involved. You have upkeep of your equipment and prepping your artwork. You're dedicated.
I must be.
I was going to say the amount of time it takes to do even the minimum requirement for tops in the time that you get, sometimes, like spending time doing all that masking. I can't imagine how quick you've got to be. And they look amazing as well. So I think you are getting there with your speed and quality. You must be.
I don't know about speed. I'm not sure about speed.
What are you thinking about? Are for the future of your art? Do you have any directions that you're kind of wanting to take, or challenges?
I would like to try more prints, working on a larger size, and try to make more prints and see how I can go that way and do more conventions. Because that's the first convention I've ever done selling art. Because I was just by chance. I'm just lucky, but because I took a lot of original art with me as well, and it's stuff that I've had sat in a folder for years. I did a few original Star Wars pieces, some sketch covers, a big Jon Snow Game of Thrones painting, a John Wick painting, but it's stuff that I'd done practicing. That, I mean, the Jon Snow were quite large, but that was the first thing I'd used an airbrush on. And that turned out nice. And but I took all that original art with me as well, and that all sold. So I should have made. Awesome. So I think that if I get to do a few prints, do a few larger pieces, make some prints, and then try a few smaller conventions to see how that goes.
Have you thought about applying for Printed in Blood? You know those
I've
books?
done a couple. I've done the Aliens art book and the Stranger Things. I did Stranger Things. Yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
So you've already done that. I can't give you any advice. You've done it all.
Do
Have
you
you done
have
any
any?
of those books?
I'm
Have
sorry.
you done the Printed in Blood? Have you done it yourself?
I was gonna have a go at the Hannibal, and I just don't seem to find time for a larger piece. It never seems to happen for me. Like just being able, I struggle to concentrate on one thing for a long time as well. I'm a bit something else. So I really admire people who do like large pieces of work and really, you know, put time, attention, and detail into it. See, this is why sketch cards suit me, because I'm just like next one.
Because there were a couple of books that I started, and then never had time to finish them. They were the Stephen King book and the Firefly book. I'd started a piece on each of them. I then just got distracted with sketch card deadlines, so they're all finished pieces.
I had a great idea for Hannibal as well. I were going to do him like an artist, but you know, like with a plate of organs and maybe the scalpel as his paintbrush, like so. So I was gutted I didn't manage to do it. It would have been cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never mind.
Do you have any of your own creations or characters or anything that you are painting? Not really.
No. I've had ideas for comic strips, original comic characters and storylines and things, but nothing that I've ever got to start yet.
So you're still working in comic books, or would like?
I've never done a comic book. I've never worked on one. I've tried a couple of submissions to 2000 AD, but never got anywhere. It's really, really difficult, I think.
I had that same dream when I was young, being a comic artist, and it's like I say, it's just so hard. It's like, you know, knowing all your perspective and all your muscles,
exactly.
It's just so difficult. But you know, I mean, you can do cover art, can't you? Amazing cover art.
Yeah.
So that's always an avenue you could go. Like I remember Preacher with Garth. Is it Garth Ennis who did the covers for Preacher?
I think it was.
And bless him, even he did a few mistakes. I remember one of them where Cassidy was under the bed and he looked like he had tiny little arms. So, you know, things do go wrong, unfortunately.
It's not.
But, yeah.
So, have you given up on your comic book dreams completely?
No, I've not given up on it. It's having time to really in between sketch sets, deadlines. Like every year, they have a 2000 AD. There's a convention called Thought Bubble in Hull or somewhere like that. I think somewhere Humberside. I can't think where. Harrogate. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. And they put out a sample script every year, so artists can have a go at this sample script and send it off the Thought Bubble. And they have a panel of judges to look at the different entries. I tried that I think year before last. I never got it finished. I think probably overthink it. I never got it finished.
Yeah, well, that's
one year I'll do it.
Like, you notice in comic books that, you know, maybe one square doesn't look quite as good as the other, and it's because they've just got to go. You can't be too finicky about it. So it just takes so long. It is a really difficult thing to do. That's off to anybody who does it.
Yeah, I think it's getting a style and having it consistent, so the beginning looks like the end, and it's all.
Yeah.
I guess it's just a matter. Are you still going to try and do it, Lindsey?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and do it.
And
it'd be awesome to see.
Are you going to try to keep doing it too, Lindsey?
No. I think, to be honest, I think I'd rather go into animation if I were going to really train in something new now. I'm a bit fascinated with it, but it's one of those things you have to fully concentrate on. Like being a comic book artist, you have to fully go for that. And, you know, I'm just not at that in that place right now.
Is there anything that you want to try, Jason, that you haven't done yet?
Just as I said, try more digital. I'd like to actually learn some digital.
Well, that's doable.
Yeah, it's just getting the time for me. It's getting the time.
So
do you have an
getting my head in the right space and the right piece of kit and
that's it. That I'm totally the same. If there's something new to learn, I really need, my head needs to be completely empty. Like it's not, nothing's going in if I've got too many other things going on.
Yeah, I really need my head in the right space and to be in the right mood and have the time to take it on board. Even like trying some new media on a sketch card. I have to go away and try a few on my own stock, try a few different pieces in it. Like oil, I've never worked in oils. I'd like to try, but it's just getting it and having the time to actually learn it whilst I'm supposed to be doing something else. If there's another deadline I'm supposed to be working on, I'd always have to focus on that first, or the commissions later, try and get that polished off first.
Well, when you are trying different stuff, I remember when I was trying watercolor, and it was lovely while I weren't forced to hurry up. But then when I was doing the rest of the cards and running out of time, like I was just messing it up all over the place because it wasn't something I was used to using. And I didn't have that speed and knowledge yet. And, I went back to markers and pencils then. But it's nice to try something, but you do have to have, like you say, the right headspace and enough time.
And because of the issues of time, it can be really hard to say, okay, today from that time to that time, I'm going to put time into doing that. It's really hard to do. And then life happens all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always happening.
Yeah, it's always happening.
That's what I need to do. We were just talking about it with my wife the other day. I really need to set my week out and said, so many days a week I'll work on the official stuff, so many days my commissions, and then another day maybe a print or something like that, try and work on something else that I want to do as well.
That's what I've been trying to do slowly, is to take a look at my week and go, okay, that day it's going to be my techie day, all the stuff I got to do, the tappity tap or the video or whatever. And that day's got to be paint day for work. And then it doesn't, well, it rarely works out that way, but it does help at least to kind of
have a rough idea. Yeah.
A
loose plan.
It's a work in progress, but it does help. And now finally I'm beginning to find a few minutes here and there to actually experiment. I think we all need the time to experiment, to keep it fun, and because that's why we're doing it, isn't it? We're all selfish little rugwarts. we gotta have fun with what we do.
Will you be attending Thought Bubble this year? Will you be going to have a look around, or?
I might do, actually. I might do. I've got a friend who's in the 501st and who I work with, and I think he's going. So it might be a weekend I get to go with him. Yeah.
I was thinking about it. Dan Walls, if you've ever seen his work, I think he's going. He's got a store there. So it might be nice to go down. I'll probably bump into a few people I know.
Oh, you should do it, Lindsey. Do it.
Well, Harry gets quite close, so you know me and how I don't like traveling.
We'll get you over here to North America eventually.
Oh, no. Too scary on a plane. I don't like them.
I don't like them, but sometimes you have to. That's expensive.
When they invent teleporters, I'll be there. Like, hurry up.
Do you have any
type situation though?
Yeah. Do you have any advice for anybody who's watching this and who might want to try working in cards, Jason? Do you have any advice for them?
I was just watching your program about this earlier, about the advice for sketch card artists. And I think it would be just like, if it is Star Wars, you like doing things like that, apply to people like Tops. I'm not sure.
What art?
I,
Do you have any art advice? Or are you just winging it like the rest of us?
I am winging it. Yeah, I am winging it like everybody else.
Totally okay.
I don't. I can only say what I've done. I can only explain what I've done. I don't know.
It's
I'm sorry.
Most honest answer.
I'm stumped here with advice for people.
I think being yourself is important, isn't it? Like with you've got your fandoms that you like and you love, and you seem to love just trying to get them to look as realistic as possible.
That's just the way I'm wired up. Drawing in like a realism kind of way. That's what I like to see other people do and artists I admire, and that's what I like doing myself. When I first started, there were a lot of artists that did cartoony type stuff, but that does seem to have been eliminated, doesn't it, as it's gone along, like since Disney took over Tops and stuff. A lot of that's been the cartoony, caricature type of cartoony stuff that you like doing. That seems to have been pushed to one side, but I do like doing the realistic kind of stuff.
Yeah. So being true to yourself is the best way to go, isn't it? Like I spent all my 20s trying to be somebody else, and my drawing skills were probably better back then than they are now, but you just kind of find a different way to go about it and just do what comes natural.
I would say, like I was trying to say before, if it is Star Wars that you like drawing, or Game of Thrones, or Star Trek, or whatever, target the kind of companies that you want to draw, because I think you'll be more passionate. If you're interested in something, you'll be more passionate in doing it that way. Other companies I've worked for Tops, Rittenhouse, and then years ago there were a company called Strictly Inc., and I think they're called something else now.
I'm not. Yeah, maybe.
What kind of stuff did they do?
Strictly Inc. It was like old British TV series stuff like Professionals and Avengers.
Yeah, they did almost, yeah. And Doctor Who, they did Doctor Who.
Yes, I did a few old Doctor Who sets. Mainly like Professionals and stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of the Avengers and Blake 7, I think, and I forget who else. Yeah, but they went out of business or something happened.
I think they called something. I think they've rebranded another name now, I think, if I remember rightly. But other companies have asked me over time to draw, but I've not accepted, not because I don't want to do them, it's just I've never had time to do anything else. There's always been a Star Wars deadline, then another Star Wars deadline, and then Rittenhouse with Star Trek, or there's a lot longer deadlines with those companies. So I think if somebody does work slower, my advice, maybe go for one of those companies that had much longer deadlines than the shorter ones.
Yeah.
But like with Rittenhouse, I've done some Star Trek stuff and Game of Thrones stuff for them. But yeah, I think if there's something you're interested in, I think if there's subjects you're more passionate about, then go for those companies with the things that you like doing. Because I think you'll be more happy drawing that stuff rather than things you don't enjoy doing.
Research what you're interested in and who might be putting that kind of thing out.
Yeah.
Where can people go to find you if they'd like to check out all your work? And I highly suggest people go look at your work. Gorgeous.
Mainly Instagram. It's at Jason Davies art _.
Okay. I'll get you to send me all the links. We'll have them in the show notes below. Are you going to be trying? Are you on all the socials? Are you Facebook, Instagram?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook.
Twitter,
Facebook.
or is everyone abandoning Twitter? No, okay. What about
Ingrid? You know me in technology. You've got me on Facebook and Instagram. That's my.
Do you have a website?
Sorry.
Do you have a website?
No. I used to a long time ago, but no.
You're naughty like me. Ingrid's going to tell you off. She keeps telling me off.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you so much for having joined us. Please come back on.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, when you've gone to your next Star Wars celebration, you must come back and tell us all about it when you've been to Japan.
We'll see about that.
It's
Okay.
been awesome to chat to another Yorkshireman today.
Thank you. Yeah, I did in Lancashire. Yeah.
All right.
Lancashire.
I mean, but that's where I am, Blackpool. Yeah.
Blackpool. Wasn't that a TV? Wasn't it called Blackpool, the TV show, the British? No, I'm remembering wrong.
Blackadder.
Oh, oh no, Blackpool is the movie. No, that's not it either. No, anyway.
Oh dear. All right, Jason.
Yeah, we're
Thank you.